Well, look how the place on fire now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So please give us a brief introduction about yourself.
My name is Muhammad Muwakil. I am the lead singer of the FREETOWN COLLECTIVE. I live on the island of Trinidad, from the Twin Island state, Trinidad and Tobago. I make music that could be considered calypso as well as soca.
What was your impression of your first visit to Japan?
Oh man. Woo. As I touched down, right, and I come off the plane, and you're coming through security, there's the checkpoint, and there's a little basket to the side with some little slippers, so that when you take off your shoes, you have these little comfortable slippers to put on to walk through the checkpoint. And that was the first thing. And I've never seen that anywhere else in the world. I was like, okay, what they've said about this place is real. Like, these people care about humanity. You know what I mean? And then there was an older lady in the back of me, a few places in the back of the line, and someone went and they got her, and nobody in the line said anything. It's an old lady, you know, they moved her forward and they got her through quickly. And I was just like, this doesn't happen. I haven't seen it happen anywhere else in the world. You know what I mean? So that was my first experience, you know, and coming through there. And then, you know, I was greeted by Yuri, and it was such a warm, wonderful greeting. And then she took me to my hotel space and went out to eat. And everywhere I went, it just felt so orderly and so peaceful. You know, where I come from, there's sirens and so much madness going on. And I reached there, and it's quiet, and it's very, very beautiful. And everyone that sees you is very respectful. People move in a certain kind of way, you know. And I remember after Yuri left me the first night, I got up and I was just walking around, and it was in the middle of the night. Like, you know, I was just walking around. I was just walking around the city by myself. I don't know anybody. I don't know anything. I felt safe. I didn't feel anything, you know. Everybody was very warm. And I also remember there was this yellow kind of path that has these little raised bumps all around the city. I remember asking Yuri, what's that for? And she was like, that's for blind people. I was like, because, you know, I come from the West, and sometimes I feel like we have this attitude as though we might be better than people or whatever, like where we come from, people, not Trinidad necessarily, but, you know, you look at the attitude of people from the West. But I think, yeah, man, Japan, I think I began to understand what the word civilization really means. Like, what does that actually mean? You know? Yeah, you all have a beautiful place, you know, and obviously there are things I wouldn't know. So I might be talking here now, and you might be like, well, actually, but, you know, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I remember also, like, you know, looking at the Yosakoi Festival, and there's thousands of people in the street, and not one piece of garbage. I didn't see one piece of garbage on the street. I picked up a fan that somebody dropped. But that was it. I see no garbage.
Okay.
You know, I didn't see nobody quarreling. I saw no arguments. I saw no, you know, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, we're happy to hear that from you. So how was your experience participating at Yosakoi Festival in Kochi?
Right. So when I was told the history of it, you know, starting after World War II, and that the businesses were, you know, people weren't doing so well, and so they started this festival to kind of boost stuff. And then I thought, this is so much like what we have in Trinidad, except we are a little wild, right? Like we a little all over. You all have this one dance that you learn, and you do the one dance all day. And then I thought, when Hemo and they first came to Trinidad, they must have said, wow, this is kind of like Yosakoi. It's similar, you know? And that's what struck me. I was like, it's so similar. So you have all of these other bands, I guess, and they're doing the traditional dance. And then you have Yuri, and you have CANAVALAVA, and I'm like, these people must think you're crazy, you know? But then everybody was embracing it, and the little children were running into the band, and they were jumping around, and everybody was so happy every time that truck was passing, and we were singing, you know, people were coming out of the stores, and you could see how happy people were to interact with the culture. So it was beautiful to witness, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was very, very beautiful to witness.
Okay, great. How's your experience differ from what you were expecting before you visited here?
It was just better than I expected. I expected
Okay.
what I found. I expected exactly what I found, like even coming down for breakfast and just how everybody was just so respectful and people were so willing to help and friendly. Yeah, it didn't differ from what I expected, except that it was just it was way better than I expected.
All right.
Yeah.
Cute. What was the most impressive moment in Yosakoi when you participated, or any street that you remember that gave you a strong impression?
Two things. One, the fact that all these people learned this dance and were disciplined enough during the day to do the dance whenever you was supposed to, which was over and over quite a few times. But there was so much discipline, even well into the night. You know what I mean? Whenever you were called for the dance to be done, everybody stopped and they did the dance, and that was very impressive to me. And then the costuming that I saw, all the trucks, just beautiful, just really, really beautiful, and how the trucks were made up and how the trucks were built and painted and all that. But the costuming throughout each of them, and then other than the soca music, the traditional music that was being played was really beautiful as well. And then you had all of this happening in this beautiful town as well. Like there were so many different things to look at while it was happening. Beautiful streets. So yeah.
Okay. Great. To know what you liked in Japan, the food and drinks. What was impressive?
Egg rice.
The
egg rice. Oh my God. After we went and had that egg rice that night, I had it every day until I left. I had it for every meal until I left. And I also really like the way you cook eggs. Because when I came down the first morning in the hotel, they had this tray of eggs. It was like scrambled, but it looked like it was all yolks because the whole thing was yellow and it was very kind of runny. I'd never eaten eggs like that. It was really good. And the fact that you all have the miso soup with every meal too, like not every meal, but at least where I was had it, the miso soup and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was good. And then I had real sushi with Yuri the first night I came, which was good too.
Would you recommend Yosakoi to any of your friends or any artists or anybody? Like, who would you think would interested in Yosakoi?
And I think everybody should see it at least once. I think there's nobody that I would tell not to. It's oof. Again, remember I said that all of us are one. We are here on this side of the world, and we came up with this festival with these trucks and people dancing behind the trucks. And you're only on the other side of the world, and although it's a little different, it's very similar, and it's similar in its origins and all these different things. And I think when you go over, you just realize that people are people, and we're beautiful wherever we are in our own ways. And Yosakoi really showed that, like, we just, as human beings, we're just so beautiful. Like, I would tell anybody, go see it, because it's nothing like anything I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that. You could walk through that festival for the entire day and not be bored, in my opinion, because there's just so much to see from how people have taken the time to prepare all of these bands, It's very, very beautiful. Yeah. A lot to appreciate.
Okay. How do you think we can continue collaboration through festivals?
Like I say, I think it is important for, like, if some people from your side came here and were able to collaborate, let's say with a steel pan group or even the National Carnival Commission, to talk about Yosakoi and where it came from and the similarities between Yosakoi and Trinidad Carnival, and why you all kind of identify with what we do here. Because I don't think some people understand that you all have your own festival, and it's similar in so many ways. So to have that kind of exchange, it would be interesting to see some students from here, Trinidadian students, not foreign exchange who are already living over there, but Trinidadian students from here who might be studying carnival studies and festival studies, to leave from here, from the university, and go over to Yosakoi, and have some people from over there to come here as well. that kind of thing, maybe coming over here and teaching people some of the traditional dances and that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of room for collaboration. I think it can happen. It would be very beautiful.
Is there anything more that Yosakoi and Caribbean Carnival can do together? Is there anything like in the future?
Man, if
more than what we
somehow,
did.
if somehow the energy from there could come, like if you could take one that CANAVALAVA could come here, and so there is that choreographed dance as well as the rest of it. Like I feel that would be so beautiful on the road, and just witnessing Japanese culture on the road here in Trinidad. Like I think people would kind of lose their minds a little bit. I think you all might be the biggest celebrities of the carnival that year, because it I guess it would be so far away from anything anybody else had ever seen. I had that vision so many times while I was there. If that could happen here, if some of you all could come here for Carnival a year, because I think it would also blow the minds of the people from Japan as well, to come in the middle of the carnival and see, how we do it here.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, we would like to make that happen.
That would be amazing. I don't know how, but that would be
Okay, so where are we now? Okay. If you were to come to Japan again, is there anything specific that you would like to do or try?
I'd love to see Tokyo. I would love to go somewhere in the mountains. I don't know where, but I would love to go somewhere in the mountains in Japan and experience different parts of it. I would love to visit a place where there might have been samurai. Like that particular culture really attracts me, and I want to know more about that particular culture. I would like to learn some Japanese calligraphy, that type of stuff, The culture itself is so rich that I would love to have time to learn more about Japanese culture, the clothing, the food, the tea, all these different things, Yeah, I would love to have more time to learn about the culture of it.
Okay. All right. Next, what inspired you to start your music career?
I remember one day I used to have my little brothers and sisters in the car driving around, and I would turn on the radio and they would start singing some of the songs off of the radio, which would have been very inappropriate for their age, And I felt like I wanted to be able to reach them. And at the time I was doing poetry, and I felt like the poetry would not have reached them in the way the music would have. So I started creating some music on my own from there. And it all kind of took off from that point. Yeah.
How old were you back then?
I would have been 25.
Okay. All right. So what motivated you to start FREETOWN?
Right. So the name FREETOWN is actually the name of the area that I'm from. So the name of the area I'm from right now is Belmont, but originally it was called FREETOWN. And it was started by a group of Africans who came from West Africa, and they came as indentured workers. They didn't come as slaves. They came as contracted workers. They signed contracts and they had their own money. And they bought this big piece of land and they called it FREETOWN. And this would have been in the time when slavery was still rampant, But these people, they came and they used to buy other people's freedom. So they would buy people out of slavery, and those people would come and they would work with them and pay them back, and they would continue that process, And when I found out that was a part of the history of where I was from, but I never knew that because they never taught us in school. We never knew anything about it. I found that it was so powerful that I started thinking to myself, looking around the neighborhood and thinking, what would those people have intended? And it couldn't be what's here now in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? There's drugs and murder and all kinds of things happening. And so around that time is when I would have also started doing the music. And so the two things came together. And so the FREETOWN Collective was born. And the idea is that every person that we meet, we inspire them to become a free town in and of themselves. And so every person that they meet, they free as well, and that person becomes a free town too. And so it spreads.
Wow, okay, thank you. All right. So what is the most important thing to you when creating your music?
The most important thing to me is that it comes from the heart, and that it has the right intention. Why am I making what I am making? You know what I mean? Someone can create a chair, and the chair is something to sit in and to help people, but in their mind, they're trying to create this chair and they just want to make money. And so they make it with as little, creativity and as little sturdiness. And then someone sits in a chair and the person breaks their spine, or they hurt themselves because they sat in this chair. And the same could be said for music. Why are you doing what you're doing? I think the intention is important, and that it comes from the heart.
Your heart. Okay, thank you. All right. So are there any other artists that you would like to collaborate with in the future?
Many. Pharrell is definitely one of them. We have not done a song with Kes yet. I would love to do something with Kes. Who else, boy? Yeah, I really like Pharrell. That's been somebody that's been on my mind recently, in terms of creating a lot. Yeah, Rick Rubin is someone as well. Yeah, there are quite a few. Kind of hard to name all. Yeah.
Okay. So what message do you want to tell through your music activities? Well, maybe you've just answered that in the previous question, but yeah.
Not really. I mean, that we are all one. I might look on the screen here and I may see, if I'm looking in the wrong eyes, I see 3 Japanese people, right? And that means certain things or whatever, but each one of you're human just like me. There's no real difference between us. We have desires, we have things that we want to achieve. We've all loved, we've all fallen out of love, we've all had our hearts broken, with all these different things we've been through. We all have parents. That there is no difference between people, and that everyone should be free to be who they were destined to be, and that they should feel courageous enough to be that, because that's how the thing flows properly. If anybody's trying to be somebody else, then we miss out on some real amazing things. Can you imagine if Michael Jackson was trying to be somebody else? Imagine if, whoever was trying to be somebody else, then we missed out on some really great things. And I'm sure that we have in the past missed out, So yeah, we all one, and everybody should have the freedom to be who they want to be.
Okay. All right. So please share us your future dream.
My future dream? My future dream. Wow. I believe right now, for whatever reason, soca music, and music in the Caribbean is sort of pushing in a certain direction. So a lot of the music is about wine and jam and that type of thing. And I think in many ways, there are some foreign cultures who have only recently met our culture, and they think, or they are thinking, that is what our culture is. The culture is just wine and jam, when there's so much more depth to it. So one of my dreams is for us to be able to bring a bit more depth to the music, to sing about what's happening in the world in ways that people could still party to and they could still enjoy, but that they could think about. So I would like to see more of that in the soca, and to have that be something that younger people coming up who want to sing soca could realize that this is also an opportunity. This is also a way that this could happen. You don't have to sing about wine and jam. Every single soca song doesn't have to be, bend over and all that. We are people who have substance, and we have dreams, and we have aspirations, and we are in the world, and we do see what's going on in the world, and I think we should express that more. So one of my future dreams is to be one of the people that brings that more to the space.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so can you share a message to Japanese fans?
Japanese fans, we love y'all. Every single time we see y'all, rejoicing to the music and dancing to the music and the way that you all are, it makes us feel really good. You know, I feel as if Japanese people came to Trinidad and like they would be so welcomed, as Hemo knows, as Yuri knows, as you know. You know, there's something about the two cultures that mixes really well. And yeah, we really love you all. We really love you all. Hope that you all continue to love our culture as well, and hope that we continue to have opportunities to experience each other in different ways.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there anything you would like to say? I think this is going to be the last.
I just want to say, like, I am so grateful, you know, to Hemo and Yuri and CANAVALAVA and yourself and the entire team for bringing me over there to represent FREETOWN. You know, where I come from, people don't make it to Japan. That's, you know, I don't know anybody around me who's ever been to Japan. You know, these are amazing opportunities for someone to have in their life, and to think that you all appreciated the music to the extent that you all would bring me over there and host me for those days and feed me and take care of me and all of that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate it. It was an experience that has changed my life in many ways. And it was one of my most enjoyable experiences that I've had. It was very, very beautiful. So that's all I would like to say. You know, I met Hemo and Yuri in 2020 for the first time. And since then, they've always just showed me so much love and so much respect. And I just say, I'm very, very thankful. That's all I'd really like to say. And, you know, let's see if we can get some of the people here. Let's see.
Lime Records.